can do about maybe answering that on the air. There we go. I don't even hear what's going on the screen because I don't have my headset on.
And if at any time
Okay,
you
so
want to make a comment
in today's episode, what we're going to be talking about is primarily the module system and the and ship components. I have the letter from the chairman where he talks about how he's going to introduce the modules, and we'll talk about that letter in just a minute. But we're also going to talk about ship components and how they could possibly be affected or changed or tweaked, with your letter from the chairman where he talks about with the crafting system. But before we do that, what I would like to do is talk about some of the things that have gone on in the last week. What are some of the things that have gone on in the last week? Well, they first of all, Happy New Year, and they released the Christmas patch for the holidays, and that patch came with its consequences. Basically, it was broken. It didn't allow you to connect to the Vandal Swim co-op, or after a while, the private matches started to fail. So, and then also the missiles. From my understanding, after watching Around the Verse, the Bug Smasher, Mark, he said that the shields weren't absorbing the proper amount of damage from the missiles. So what that means is the missiles were doing way too much damage to ships, and so they became overpowered. And then in the matches, you'll notice that there are a lot of missiles flying. And then there were some people out there that realized this, didn't enjoy it, and so started some non-missile matches where you go in and play and not use missiles. It's pretty cool idea. I think missiles should be in the game, but not while they're overpowered. So realize this. Either way, what I noticed when I was playing, I noticed that people were launching missiles, all of them, at one target, and then ejecting or colliding into an asteroid or something, or self-destructing now that we have that option. And then when they come right back, they come back with a full complement of missiles. And so they basically, and if you go through one target, they updated the leaderboards where you can see what maps people are playing on, what ship they're playing with, and what their primary weapon is. And so if you go through the leaderboard and you take the top 25, top 50 people, and you eliminate all the people where their primary weapon was their missile, then you'll see who the actual leaders are. Because anybody that has missiles as their primary weapon is a cheese monster. That's what I'm saying. A cheese, a munchkin, whatever you want to call it. Power gamer, min-maxer, whatever. Now, they might come back and say that they did that just to test the missiles. Or they might say that they did that because they're trying to give feedback to CIG. No, what they did was they did that so that they could get top on the leaderboard, or that they could, that they can win. Now, I'm not saying I didn't launch missiles, because I did. When I played, I did launch missiles, and I admit it, I even tried that technique just to see how effective it was, and it was very effective. But I'm not saying it's the wrong way to play, but I'm saying that when you get into the persistent universe, and each missile you launch comes with a cost, because missiles are items that you have to buy. I'm not saying it's the wrong way to play, but I'm saying that I don't think there'll be that many missiles flying, or you'll only use them when you desperately need to use them. So we'll see. We'll see what happens, because when you put a cost to the missile, that's going to nerf it right away. And plus, they're fixing the shield problem, which means missiles aren't going to be as deadly, and they're probably going to, they're doing a patch. Now, back to the news. They were supposed to give us a patch this week to fix all these issues. They call it 1.0.1. A week ago, they said they were going to do it this week. But then this week on Reverse the Verse, Ben said that because of the lobby system was still broken and they still needed to do some refinements to the patch, it won't be till next week. Okay, so the patch isn't going to be till next week, and then Ben said that because of the lobby system. Oh, another thing, they're changing the weapon class system. So you know where you got class 1 is like a fixed forward firing gun, class 2 is a gimbaled gun, class 3 are your missiles, class 4 would be just a turret like on the Hornet that is not manned, and then there's the class 5, which was the manned turrets. They've decided to do away with that and just call them what they are: fixed gimbaled missiles. And there's still going to be sizes of weapons, and weapons shouldn't have classes anyway, because my understanding is the weapon mount has the class, like how the gun is used, and then weapons themselves have size, and certain mounts can mount certain size guns. But now they just decided to scrap that whole idea and just call it what it is, which is fine. That way you get rid of the whole class system. Even though that was, for me, it was easy to understand. I don't know why they got rid of it, but they felt like they needed to do that. Maybe they were going to implement a couple of new classes that we're not sure about or something, or a couple of new weapon types, and it wouldn't fit in between the 1 and 5. So what that means is that's going to change. They're supposed to be releasing and doing a pass on all the weapons. Now I'm going to say I went out and got me a couple of Panther repeaters, and the Panther repeaters are pretty cool, but they do quite a bit of damage. I feel like they fire just a little bit slower than the size 2 or the size 1s. And they overheat a lot faster. So their alpha potential, I call it alpha, that means like their maximum damage initially, isn't that high to warrant having such a fast overheat. Because I'll shoot and the weapons will overheat, and then I'll have to wait for them to cool down, and then I'll shoot and they'll overheat, and then I'll have to wait for them to cool down. And I feel like I'm actually doing less damage or less effective than I was when I had the size 2 or even size 1s. Size 1s, you could shoot indefinitely and they'll never overheat. So I've got like a constant barrage of damage going out, where the size 2s overheat pretty quick. They're the worst. They're the middle and they're the worst. So they overheat and they don't do a whole lot of damage. So you got to pick one or the other. One doesn't overheat, does a little bit of damage, and the other ones overheat fast but do heavier damage. And I feel like if you averaged it out, all 3 of them are doing the exact same amount of damage. So why bother getting the bigger, heavier laser? I have it. I'm going to keep trying. I'm going to keep using them. And maybe I'm just going to have to manage my heat a little bit. I feel like I'm playing MechWarrior. Are doing the exact same amount of damage. So why bother getting the bigger, but do heavier damage? I have it. I'm going to keep trying. I'm going to keep using them. Averaged it out. All 3 of them are doing it's not even in use anymore. Okay. So let's talk about the ship modules and components and things like that. But before we do that, let's talk about the letter from the chairman. All right, I've got this letter for the chairman pulled up. So let's talk about the ship modules and components and things like that. But before we do that, let's talk about the letter from the chairman. All right, I've got this letter for the chairman. So let's talk about the ship modules, components, and things like that. Before we do that, let's talk about the letter from the chairman. Right? I've got this now. In this letter for the chairman, of course, he's talking about all the busy work they're doing, and I pretty much, and I'm going to be honest with you, I pretty much ignore this first paragraph because it says the exact same. It's copy and pasted. It feels like from every single letter from the chairman. Nothing really new there. So what I jumped down to is the meat and potatoes of any letter because I'm interested in the actual facts. It says the exact same. It's copy and pasted. It feels like from every single. Of course, he's talking about all the letter from the chairman. I have infinite echo. Okay, let's turn. So this first paragraph because it says the exact same. It's copy and pasted. Thank you. I appreciate you telling me that because I'm not listening to my stream. Nothing really. So yeah, I had my Twitch volume on so you would actually hear the actual facts. I appreciate you telling me that. I have infinite echo. Okay, let's turn. So this first paragraph because it says the exact same. It's copy and pasted. Thank you. I appreciate you telling me that because I'm not listening to my stream. Nothing really. So yeah, I had my Twitch volume on so you would actually hear the actual facts. I appreciate you telling me that. Okay, right there. I hope that fixes the problem. Thank you. I appreciate you telling me that because it'll gradually fade away as it repeats itself. So yeah, I had my Twitch volume on so you would actually hear. Okay, there we go. I'm terribly sorry. That was follow fashion. Thank you. I really do appreciate that. That's going to improve the show today. It only took 26 minutes for me to go into it to get it fixed. Appreciate that though. I'm gonna listen for just a few minutes just to see if that actually did fix it or not. If that actually did fix it or not. Yeah. Okay. Very good. Thank you. Hey, man. You know, it's all good. That way you get to hear me 3 times. All right. So now the getting back to the letter. Now this is where the 64 million pets are a go kind of stretch goal hit. You know where they're going. We talked about this last week, I think, where we don't want, we're not, last show, we don't want pets that aren't useful. You know, we want pets that will fight with us, or we want pets that'll actually repair things, or pets that give us some kind of shield. We don't want pets that just tag along with us like other MMOs. You know, there are some MMOs out there that have pets that just walk around with you and don't do anything. They just look great, and you can, they have no purpose in the universe. And to me, that's immersion breaking. You know, but if there's a pet like, let's say, a repair bot that follows you around everywhere, R2D2 style or whatever, I'm okay with that. I'm totally okay with that. And then if you need to fix a doohickey and the repair bot could go up there and actually do its work and repair it, then that means, pets are useful. Other than that, let's not have them. Okay. Now the whole Jones the cat from Alien, a pet like that, I don't have a problem with that. Like a cat that roams your ship, or you got a dog that hangs out on the ship or whatever. I don't really have problems with that either. But when they follow you around, walk around everywhere you go, and then just for appearances, I don't like those. Okay, now we're talking about the new stretch goal modular ship design. Okay, and there's some pros and cons with modular ship design, in my opinion. I'm going to start off by saying that when you design a ship out there, and I'm talking about realistically, if someone was going to design a ship, he might have modularity in mind when he designs it. But there's going to be other ships out there that don't have modularity in mind. So let's say, and I'm going to use this as an example, the 300i. It's not really a ship that can benefit from the modular system. The Cutlass, yes, because it has a larger cargo area. Ships that have larger cargo areas, I feel, should have the modular ship possibilities where you can put in a med bay or a containment cell or whatever, and then there are other ships that shouldn't have anything like that, like the Hornet. The Hornet shouldn't have modular design, but the what do you call it? Now, of course, you've got a minor amount of modularity, like with the turret or with the what do they call it? The gimbal canard in the front, or the big box cargo container. Now, those are all sort of the modular design, but what they're talking about is there's a limited number of ships here. Let's continue on. Let's see. I don't know if they wrote it in here. I think they did. Right in here where it says we're looking to overhaul any suitable ships. So that doesn't mean all ships are going to have this modular design, and I agree with that. Like the Cutlass should, sure. The Avenger, it's got that larger cargo area, and you could convert it into different things. The Retaliator with its bomb bay doors, and and then the Redeemer. I'm really not familiar with the insides of the Redeemer, but sure, I could see where that would be modular. And that's going to let you get things to swap in and out. And they're using this as an example, like the Redeemer. Okay, yes, I am familiar with the Redeemer. That's the That's the troop transport, right? Okay. For some reason, I was thinking the Reclaimer, but yeah, the Redeemer. Now, when you have the system, you might switch it out for a stasis chamber because you might be a bounty hunter using that ship, or you might switch it out to a long-range communications suite, or you might switch it out to carry like a deployable vehicle or something, like a Gray Cat or something. I don't know. That might be able to fit in the back, which it can't fit in the back right now, but maybe when you switch that out, you'll get a larger door where it'll fit in. And so certain ships will be modular, but certain ships won't. So don't get your hopes up that your ship is. I mean, it depends on what ship you have. Some ships are built the way they are because that's the most effective way for them to be built. Now, I talked about the pros and cons, and I'm sorry, I'm kind of scatterbrained right now. But one of the pros is that you as a player will be able to pick and choose what your ship is best at or more capable of doing, right? So you'll have, so like if you want to be that explorer or whatever, you can do that. If you want to be that bounty hunter, you can. Okay, now the downside to this is certain ships will ultimately have a certain layout that makes them OP in like maybe combat. Okay, there are certain ships, like I'm going to use my Retaliator as an example. The Retaliator, if it's modular, there are certain modules that I'm going to be able to put into the Retaliator that is going to make that Retaliator the best that it can be. And if that's the case, then everybody's going to be having those exact same modules because they'll be wanting to compete. So what you're going to wind up seeing is just the opposite of what they're trying to do. Is you're going to see the community find the best loadout for a situation, and even if it's bounty hunting or cargo carrying or exploring, each one of those desired roles is going to have a module composition that is best suited for that role. So you're going to see everybody using those modules. Not necessarily everybody, but if there is a best and people want to be the best, then they're going to have the best. And so what you're going to see is a lot of a lot of ships that they're looking for diversity, but really they're making it so. I mean, it's just the nature of the beast. The players, the min maxers are going to get the modules that are best for whatever role it is. So like specifically, what I'm worried about is specifically combat roles. Exploration roles, it doesn't matter to me. Whatever roles they want to put up on the on their ships. So let's back up to the reality part. In reality, if there was a specific set of modules that were OP, then the manufacturers would design their ships to effectively use those modules, and you should have ships. And this is where I'm a big proponent of ships should have their own specific role, and that role they should be designed with that in mind. So being module is not. I don't. How do I say this? We don't design ships today to have certain areas yanked out and replaced with module system. I mean, yeah, people do certain customizations of their ships and stuff, but that's a major overtaking or undertaking, not something that you can just plug and play. We don't do that specifically because it would cost more to create. I know in reality it costs more to make a ship modular, and then you got to create all these modules and allow the owner to decide which ones he's going to use. Instead of just picking a ship 1, ship 2, ship 3, it would be so much easier for everybody involved. And that's why I personally believe that I could care less about the module system. Okay, I know a lot of people are like excited about it, and I am too, but I get mixed feelings is what I'm trying to say. Okay, now let's talk about there you go. Get rid of that. Now I came up with a list of, and I put it on our own website. I'm going to pull it up. Just give me a second to do that. Now I'm trying to remember where I put it. Okay. Send it out as a forum thread. All right, now this is where I'm just going to pop a lot of ideas at you, and you guys can throw them back at me if you want. There we go. I needed to see both of those. All right, now here's some modules that, or some, not only are they modules, but they could also be considered ship components, because as you know, like from the very beginning, we were going to be able to have different types of components. And I'm just going to use this one as an example. A jump drive, or jump engine. We're going to be able to swap those out. We're going to put better ones in, we're going to put more economical ones in, or whatever, and we're going to is that considered modular? No, I consider that to be just ship components. Like if you take a laser off of a turret and you put a chain gun on there, that doesn't mean it's modular. Okay, that just means you have various options. Okay, when it talks about modular, we're talking about serious changes to the configuration of your ship. We're talking about taking out entire cargo hold and putting in an entire medical bay or something like that. That's what they mean by modular. But today we're going to talk about various things that could be changed on the ship. There's going to be either components or modules. Okay, let's talk about engines. Okay, we have a lot of different engines. We have the maneuvering engine, main thrusters, right? You've got your quantum drive for warping around the solar system. You have your jump drive for going from star to star. You even have a power plant. I'm including that with the engines because it's engine-like, okay? So what do we got? We got like ion engines, we have fusion engines, combustion engines, we have antimatter engines. So each one of those probably comes with its advantages and disadvantages. Like antimatter, it probably has a huge energy output, but it could possibly explode or something like that. When it does, it'll be like a nuke. I'm not sure about the whole ion engine, but I saw that on the Carrick video I just got finished doing, and they have an ion power plant, which is pretty cool, I think. Okay, and then of course all your weapons, those are components that you can swap out, and that theory crafting over which weapons are the best loadout can go on forever until they get all those weapons. What do you call it? Figured out. Okay, and then we got sensors. You could swap out sensors. You might have some low emission sensors. You might have some active sensors, some passive sensors. You know, what kind of sensors? You got some tachyon sensors. You probably have some heat and radar and everything else. So all different types of sensors. Headlights, visual sensors. Okay, and then you've got let's talk about computer components, computers, right? We've got different types of computers. You've got navigation computers, exploration, like jump plotting computers. We have targeting computers. There might even be computers to help manage like capital ships and things like this. And these are all components that will be able to, and then even, I'm jumping around, but let's talk about a targeting computer. Just because you have a targeting computer doesn't mean the next guy doesn't have a better targeting computer. And then even that, different targeting computers might have different capabilities. Like one targeting computer, I'm just throwing this out there as kind of a possibility. One targeting computer might be able to lock onto a target and never lose a lock. Just saying that. And another targeting computer might lock onto multiple targets. Another targeting computer might be able to lock missiles onto a variety of different targets simultaneously. So when you fire your missiles, they go out at 15 different targets. You know, and how many targets can you lock? That's targeting computer. And that's just that as an example. And one might use more of your computer CPU on your ship, and one might use less. Another one might process it faster, so you get like a faster lock. Another one might, just lock at different ranges. So there's just a variety of different options just on the targeting computer. And then there's others like shields. You're going to have stronger shields. You're going to have shields that recharge faster. You're going to have shields that drain less energy from your power plant. You're going to have shields that are created 360. There's going to be shields that are just front and back. There's going to be all kinds of different shields. So and then there's cargo. When I put cargo, I got like cargo modules. Cargo. You might have cargo shielding, cargo hold shielding. That's something that they mentioned early on. And then there's other things that are cargo scanners that you can scan your cargo to. So if you have like if you're trying to do smuggling, you can hide them in a secret cargo compartment, which is not necessarily your main cargo compartment. Then you got medical, right? You can have med bays, or you can have med tables. You can take all of that out and you replace an entire section of your ship with medical. That's more of a module. in my opinion. And then you got, and different medical bays might be able to repair more damage, might be able to repair your damage more often, because I understand that once you get repaired a number of times, then you can't be repaired anymore, like in a battle or a fight. It might have more tables. It might have auto doctors, like robotic doctors that help out. That's just some examples there. Then you got a passenger compartment. Like this is another one where you could, and most of these modules would go into either a module slot or your cargo hold. And so, and I considered this early on when I used to have a Constellation. I said, you know, I'd like to convert like the first half of my cargo hold into a passenger bay or something, so that I could carry a number of passengers other than just the 4 crew, you know, Marines or civilians going to different planets, you know, what do you call those, patrons, right? Could be cots, could be cold berths, it could be, you know, could be anything. It just depends on how they want to put tiers on each of these different modules and make them unique, you know. Troop deployment module. That's pretty much what you see in the back of the Redeemer. It's going to be something where there's a larger door where the troops can pile out and fight, or it has like a docking collar where they can jump down through the docking collar. It could be a place where they rappel down, or it could be something where they do EVA from your ship to another ship, or some a troop area that can be deployed in flight, or, you know, if you land. Another module that I thought of, that I haven't really heard anybody talk about, was like an entertainment module, where you've got maybe a mini bar, or a video screen, or maybe a pool table, or a ping pong, or anything like that, where you got like a lounge area where you can, if you were to be a passenger ship, you might be able to have like entertainment so that they can pass the time while you're flying from system to system, right? I just thought, you know, who knows. And then there's, of course, the vehicle module. Now, a vehicle module would be something like what you see in the Carrack with the or the Constellation, where you've got like a wheeled vehicle that deploys from, guess where, an area of your cargo hold. And different modules might have different types of vehicles. You might have a grav vehicle, you might have a wheeled vehicle, you might have even a fighter, you know, like a scout ship, or a anything like that. Okay, and then the captain's quarters. That's another module. You see that on the old Retaliator picks. You don't see that on any of the new Retaliator picks, but in the old one of the missile bays was converted into a captain's quarters, where it had a video screen and a bed and a little place for drinks or whatever. But that's something that individual quarters, I should say individual quarters, because it doesn't have to be the captain. I mean, it could be the pilot, or it could be the engineer. You can have multiples on a bigger ship. That way everybody has their own quarters. That's kind of cool, but quarters are pretty much already built into a ship, so who knows. Another one, the gravity generator. Now I'm talking about components and modules. A gravity generator should be a component on every one of your ships, except for maybe the single seat fighters. But any ship where you can get up and walk around in the ship, there should be some kind of gravity generator that's providing power to the gravity plates that provide the pull down, so that you have that gravity. Now the different gravity generators might be able to provide more gravity, like if you could crank it up to 2 or 3 Gs, or maybe higher at 6 Gs. There's other gravity generators might use less power, some might use more, some might be able to cover a bigger ship, so you might have to get if it's a big ship, you might have to get a bigger gravity generator. Yeah, these are like the one you see on the this New Horizon, or the Gold Horizon, or New Horizon, the space station from the FPS demo. Yeah, that's what I mean. One of those has to be in your ship. Now, smaller ships, that's a big space station. So smaller ships, they might have smaller ones. They might have some that are just only this big, you know, tucked away somewhere in your ship. Then again, like the Hornet, let's use that as an example. The Hornet probably doesn't even have one. Doesn't need one, because you're not getting up walking around. You're sitting down, you're strapped in. That's it. Okay, another one, exploration module. You know, like different types. Not only does it include sensors, but it might also include a buggy, roundabout, that you can roam the planet with. It might include bigger sensor, not necessarily the computer components. I'm sure it will include that, but it'll also include like the satellite dishes and things like that that you can mount on the outside of your ship, or who knows what. What else? Holding cells. I mentioned that a little bit earlier, but yeah, there can be different holding cells that would mount. You could hold various types of prisoners, because not everybody's a human, right? You can't have a vandal fitting inside of a human holding cell. Various holding cells, I'm sure, you can even make that a module or a component. It's pretty much a module, I would think, where you're going to take an entire section of your ship and convert it to holding cells. And then, I don't know, does anybody out there have any idea of any other modules or ship components that I might have missed? No? Okay, well, that was probably it. I just wanted to kind of go over a lot of different modules and give everybody a little bit of understand that there's modules, which are the major components of a ship that will change, and it's a major undertaking to replace one to the other. And then there's components, which I would think would be a little bit easier to replace. Like you can pull out a motherboard for your computer, for a targeting computer, and you can replace another motherboard, and that would be, you know, a few hours worth of work. Where the component, like where a module, like if you were going to take all of the med bays out of your uh, Cutlass and you were going to replace it with uh, the holding cells, that's going to take, shoot, how long is that going to take? That's going to take days, you know. I would think we're hours and hours and hours, you know. So, and I don't know how they're going to model that in the game. But if you were just taking out, if you were just, you know, taking one engine out and replacing it with another engine, I would consider that to be pretty complicated too. But then again, maybe not. Maybe that would be pretty quick. You could just plug it in, plug all the wires, and there you go. You know, you know, get all the fuel going in the right places, get the power from the power plant going into the right places, and maybe that might be an easy replacement. So I don't know. But yeah, if you have any other comments, or you know, what do you call it? Uh, came up with any other module that I might have missed, or ship components that you think would be a really good change, go ahead and put those in the comments below. If you like this video, go ahead and like it. And if you're on Steam, go ahead and follow. And if you're on YouTube, go ahead and follow or subscribe. And we'll see you in the verse.